Good morning. Lovely having a break in the midst of winter. And what better to celebrate than the family? We've just spent December following the story of the Holy Family. The angel visiting Mary and her response. The visit to her cousin Elizabeth, who was just beginning her own family, her belly filled with the babe who would become John the Baptist. Then the angel reassuring Joseph of the path he was to follow. The marriage of the two who would be the earthly parents of Jesus. The trip to Bethlehem, the inns full, and only a stable for their weary bodies to rest. All of this culminated in the joyous birth of the Christ child and the visits of shepherds, seers, and angels. We do celebrate the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. But other than at baptisms, we rarely include the subject of families in our sermons or how important they are to each of us. Admittedly, on Mother's Day and Father's Day, we celebrate their role in the family, but not the family itself. Family is credited so often with the success or failure of its members. With failure comes scrutiny for examples set, and with success for encouragement given, and with the love with which they were surrounded or denied. Families come in so many different varieties. There is the traditional family of husband and wife and children. There are fewer of them these days, and fewer people having large families as were common in the past, when people lived on farms and birth control wasn't in, and never practicing it was the subject of sermons. There are single parents and common law couples, multi-generational families all living together. Well, that's more common among new Canadian families. Grandparents, aunts and uncles, mothers and fathers and children, all together in one house, shared bedrooms, and great family gatherings around the dinner table, all working together for common family goals. Then there are same-sex families, both with and without children. There are foster parents and adoptive parents and step-parents and blended families. There are single parents living with other single parents and all together in a delightful mishmash of relationships. There are the wonderful honorary members of the family, those with whom no celebration is complete without their inclusion. There are those we adopt as adults as we create new families, friends who live together or apart but become family, the orphans of the world who unite together and create their own units. Just as colleagues can become as close as any family and come to fulfill that role as they delight in time together and share dreams and support each other. For some, the family they claim includes their pets of all shapes and sizes. Mine come with fins. And then there are the genealogists who claim family going back as many generations and as broadly as the success of their research can sort out. Family is one of those things that mean different things to different people. And you get to define the word and make up your mind on who is included in yours. My parents used to caution me that neighbors are like family. You don't get to choose where you're born, and you don't get to choose who moves in next door. You're stuck with them, whoever they may be. So at least be polite. Family is all about with whom we travel through this world, who become our companions along the way, who are comforts and supports, and the pain in the behind is also one that we claim as our own. Family remembers you when you did something you really want to forget about, and they still love you. Family cares what happens to you and ache when you ache. They can be your harshest critic and your greatest fan, and they can do it all at the same time. They can also drag you down and hurt you in ways that no one else can. And you don't always like them. I can remember my son when he was about 12 warning his younger sisters to watch out, Mother only loves us today. Well, some of your fondest memories encompass family, and some of your worst moments were caused by the same people. And that's what family is all about. You get your first family with your first breath and spend a lifetime adding and subtracting to that base and making new family structures along the way. There's no right way to family. Each grows or withers, and each has the potential for great good and the risk of great harm. In Galatians, Paul encourages us to do good unto all, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Household is more the way family was defined in the days of the Bible. The workers of the field, the shepherds, the maids, the cooks, those who wove and sewed the clothes and worked the crafts, and the owners, they were all part of a household that made up its members and its family. There were not the divisions we see in the nuclear families, where we all expect to establish our own home or household when we finish school and get a job. In those times, with such diversity living together, there were undoubtedly divisions and disputes and likes and dislikes, but they all were together from necessity or choice, and they fulfilled their roles and their needs were met. It's a different concept of family, but it worked for people in those places and times, and it still works in some countries today. Genesis tells us the man and woman were created in God's image, which clearly tells us that the image is not our external presentation. Indeed, it is in our endless diversity that we proclaim the richness of God's creation. But it's in our soul that we find God's image reflected, the very essence of our being. Families are made up of people, all created in God's image and each unique, all part of God's family and His own creation. And it's in recognizing God in each and every person that we reach our own full potential. We share that spark of the Spirit that makes us children of God, each bearing the trait, the image, descended through generations throughout all time. And in acknowledging that, each person our eyes light upon encompasses that same image that is God, we become complete. How can we dislike or discriminate or be indifferent to one who carries God within them, just as we do? We come in many colors and sizes, ages and shapes, different sexes and different languages, and we can concentrate on the differences, or we can unite in a celebration of our unifying God and personhood, the soul we share with God. Ultimately, we are all just walking each other home, all heading for heaven. But it's so wonderful to have companions along the way. Companions we call family. So may it ever be. Amen. This weekend, take a moment to define who you consider family. I've had fun asking the question over the past week. Is it only blood kin? Or are there honoraries included? Or those you have cast out and those you have welcomed in? And then go ahead and celebrate and enjoy the break with a few family favorites at the dinner table, whether that's the roasted chicken, the tacos, or a haggis, the familiar food and aromas and faces around the table. That's what family is all about.